Morning. Welcome to our Monday TNT, starting a brand new week. Beautiful sunny day here in the Panga province, looking out across the Andaman Sea. We've got the kids heading off to school this morning on the road just in front of where I'm doing the program from. Off to Phuket today, actually off to Phuket tomorrow as well, but today we've got the big marine safety meeting in Phuket. It's going to be at Boat Lagoon in the White House. The big white tent starts at 5 p.m, goes till 8, partly sponsored by my sponsor, 5 Star Marine. And we do look forward to this meeting and seeing if we can start to chip away at some of the, long-standing safety problems, especially in the Phuket marine industry. So that's tonight, and of course I'll be reporting about it tomorrow. A lot of different news stories to get through today. Let's get started. And we start with this report from BangkokPost.com. 3 killed in Ratchaburi shooting rampage. 3 people were killed. Another was seriously injured during a shooting rampage carried out by a security guard in Ratchaburi. This happened on Friday night at the Ratchaburi power plant just after 9 p.m. after multiple shootings were reported. Team of police officers, medical personnel found 3 men slain on the road, a 55, 50 and 52-year-old. 2 of them held managerial positions at the plant, whilst another was a security guard trainer. And another person, a 50-year-old, suffered a gunshot wound and was rushed to hospital. Police say a man named Bunlert, the head of security for the facility, was the individual responsible for the deadly shooting. And police were told that Bunlert Guard Company had recently had its responsibilities reduced after the plant engaged an additional security provider. Let's see if we can find out a little bit more about the motive for the shooting. We go to ThaiPBSWorld.com. 3 guards shot, 1 injured at a power station in Ratchaburi. And it says, according to an initial report, Bunlert summoned the guards for talks about their pay, but the 2 sides could not agree about the amount. In a fit of rage, Bunlert allegedly pulled out his 9mm handgun, fired at the guards, killing 3 of them and injuring another. And all the victims were taken to district hospital by emergency services. That was up in Ratchaburi. Now, we've also had Children's Day over the weekend, a very successful Children's Day generally. However, there were a few incidents. Let's go to Chaos on English, their Facebook page, and it says that National Children's Day yesterday, that was on Saturday, ended in another tragedy when a 12-year-old girl riding a motorcycle back from a Children's Day fair in Ratchaburi rammed her motorcycle into an electric pole. 2 siblings riding at the back, 6 and 2, were seriously injured. A 12-year-old with 2 younger kids on the back. In Thailand, you must be at least 15 to be able to ride a small motorcycle. Be assured there are a lot of kids a lot younger than that riding around on motorbikes. Not sure if we should really call that a Children's Day incident, given that they were just returning from one of the Children's Day incidents, but this next one certainly was. Children's Day festivities end badly for some children in Satun, and the National Children's Day celebrations in Satun province was tarnished by an accident that left 15 children wounded. And some 30 children were riding on an emergency bridge put on display at the Children's Day Fair at Kwandon sub-district in the southern province when the accident happened. And the emergency bridge is part of a truck used to help victims in the case of natural disasters, sort of like a large forklift, if you like. And children were allowed to ride on the bridge as it was controlled to go up and down via a large cable connected to the truck. The ride became very popular among the children, but the cable snapped and the bridge suddenly dropped from a height of about, what should be 3 metres, to the shock of parents and guardians keeping an eye on the youngsters. As many as 15 children were injured in the accident and were rushed to the hospital. Most suffered bruises and sprains, though some fainted from the shock, and 4 adults also suffered injuries and were taken to hospital. As I said, basically a sort of a large forklift, and there's no barriers around this particular platform or restraints stopping the kids from falling off. Not really, basically a ride for kids. Now, there's another visa in the news, but don't get too excited yet, but we'll bring you this story and a bit of an update on that 90-day visa for European and American tourists as well. BangkokPost.com reporting the government's planning Muay Thai visa for foreigners. And the government plans to introduce a special visa for foreign tourists who want to visit Thailand to practice Muay Thai. It will allow them to stay for up to 90 days to complete their course. Yet another tourist-style visa to be used by foreigners. And an advisor to the Prime Minister and chairman of the government's subcommittee for driving sports-related activities said members decided at a meeting on Friday to promote Muay Thai as one of the country's so-called soft powers. So we've got a long way between recommending at a meeting last Friday and an actual signing off on this new visa. And with a tourist visa, a foreigner can stay in Thailand for up to 60 days, but with a special visa for learning Muay Thai, they could stay for 90 days. You could also apply for a tourist visa outside of Thailand before you come here, get a 60-day visa, and then extend that for another 30 days when you get here, which would also give you a 90-day visa without having to do the Muay Thai. The government will set a standard level to be attained at the classes and also certification for Muay Thai teachers so the national fighting art can be accurately disseminated around the world. What? You actually have to go to the classes? Ruins everything. In addition, the government will promote Muay Thai through the nowmuaythai.com website, a platform for foreigners interested in the sport to choose courses around Thailand. A lot of foreigners do enjoy coming to do those Muay Thai classes, some of them for sometimes months. Some of them use an ED visa to do the studies. It can get pretty hot, but there'd probably be around 100 gyms in Phuket alone running these Muay Thai classes. Now, about that 90-day visa waiver. Now, there's been, every day I must get 3, 4, 5 messages. Or when are they going to start this 90-day visa waiver for Europeans, Australians, New Zealand, UK, Americans? Since last November, when somebody suggested it, there's literally been nothing from the government. Now, I know some YouTubers have really milked the topic, but there's been so little discussed about it. It was like a passing comment by a politician back in November, and that's been it. As far as I can say now, there's no possibility of it being introduced at least for the next 3 or 4 months, because even if they announced it today, it would have to be gazetted and that would take another 90 days. So if you're waiting for that 90-day visa waiver, don't. Because as far as I can see, there's just been nothing mentioned about it at all since last November. A possibility of some more good news for foreigners who come to Thailand, and they get a bit of a shock when between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. each afternoon they can't buy alcohol. And they say, well, why? Exactly why is a very interesting question. We'll get to that a bit later, but we go to BangkokPost.com and it says restaurateurs have proposed that PM Setatawisin lift the suspension of alcohol sales in the afternoon because visitors are complaining. And the head of the Restaurant Business Club sent an open letter to the Prime Minister to ask the government to lift the ban on sales of alcohol every day between 2 and 5 p.m. According to the letter, the 3-hour prohibition has been in place since 1972 and is problematic for eatery operators because foreign customers frequently ask them to explain why they can't order a drink during the afternoon. If you go to a 7-Eleven or a wine shop, same situation. You can't purchase alcohol during those hours, 2 to 5 p.m. each day. Now, before we move on with the story, why do you think we've got this prohibition? It says that it was introduced in 1972. Now, I've lived here for nearly 13 years. I must have heard 20 different reasons why the prohibition was actually introduced. So whatever you're thinking, it probably isn't the right one. Well, the right one according to this article, which we'll get to. And the alcohol sales restriction was introduced more than 5 decades ago, reportedly to stop some government officials from partying and drinking in the afternoon. Now, out of all the different excuses I've heard for this prohibition here in Thailand, that is one I've never heard before. I've heard it had to do with something about schools and kids getting out of school and heading off to their local 7-Eleven and getting pissed. But apparently, according to this, it's trying to stop government officials partying in the afternoon. Moving on to our next story. And Pattaya nightlife sees boom after extended operating hours. Bars want entertainment zones expanded. And the Pattaya Entertainment Industry Association highly praised the Thai government's policy of extending entertainment opening hours until 4 a.m, citing its positive impact on the local economy and urging further expansion of legal entertainment zones. And the extended hours officially implemented on December the 15th last year as part of a pilot program in 5 provinces has garnered positive feedback from a large number of Pattaya business owners. And most entertainment businesses reported a significant increase in daily income, ranging from 20 to 30% since the longer hours were implemented. And according to the Secretary General of the Pattaya Entertainment Industry Association, this success translates to benefits for employees as well. The service staff and waiters are seeing their daily earnings increase by 300 to 500 baht, translating to roughly 9,000 to 15,000 baht per month. And this policy, he says, is a game changer for our nightlife community and the local economy as a whole. We express our sincere gratitude to the government for listening to our pleas and implementing these measures. However, the association also urges the government to consider expanding legal entertainment zones in Pattaya. And proposed areas for expansion of legal nightlife and entertainment zones are part of Jomtien, especially around the popular gay nightlife area at Jomtien Complex, and Soi 7 area, part of Naklua around Space Hotel, Third Road to Sukhumvit, and perhaps even parts of Eastern Pattaya. So you'll have to navigate your way around all that. I'm not familiar with a lot of the road names in Pattaya. Now, also up in Chon Buri province over the weekend, there was a fatal incident, and BangkokPost.com reports a foreigner was killed in Chon Buri plane crash. And a foreign passenger was killed and another one seriously injured when a small plane crashed into a paddy field in Bang Lamung district. It happened on Saturday morning, and just looking more closely there, it looks like sort of a microlight or ultralight type plane, basically covered with fabric. And the crash site was behind a car tyre repair shop. One foreign national was killed in the incident. Another foreign national sustained serious injuries and was sent to hospital. Their identities were not immediately disclosed. Now, since Saturday morning, I'm not sure if those names have become available. They haven't been published, as far as I can see, in any of the English media. So, big meeting this afternoon in Phuket. I'll actually be wearing this particular shirt, so if you want to come and say hello, be delighted to meet you. An important meeting, and big thanks to 5-Star Marine and all the other people involved in putting this particular forum together, and let's hope that we can do something to save a few lives and stop a few incidents in the future. Now, a very important regional story from the weekend. We go to ThaiPBSWorld.com. Taiwan's president-elect vows to defend island from China threats. So on Saturday, an election in Taiwan, closely watched, of course, by the world, especially by China, and Taiwan's president-elect, Lai Ching-te, I'm not sure if I've got that right, vowed on Saturday to defend the self-ruled island from intimidation by China after voters defied warnings from Beijing and swept him to election victory. And Lai, branded by Beijing as a threat to peace in the Flashpoint region, secured an unprecedented third consecutive term for the Democratic Progressive Party in Saturday's poll after a raucous campaign in which he pitched himself as a defender of Taiwan's democratic way of life. And Communist China claims democratic Taiwan, separated from the mainland by a 100-kilometre strait, as its own, and refuses to rule out using force to bring about unification, even if conflict does not appear imminent. In his victory speech, Lai said he would maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, but pledged to defend the island from Chinese belligerents. He said, "We're determined to safeguard Taiwan from continuing threats and intimidation from China." And the election was watched closely by both Beijing and Washington, Taiwan's main military partner, as the two superpowers tussle for influence in the strategically vital region. And it is indeed a very important strategic area, closely watched by the world as a potential flashpoint. And with that, we thank you very much for watching today's TNT. Look forward to seeing some of you tonight, and we'll report more on that tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.